Welcome to the podcast. Súbele volumen. Conversation with the people who were with me. In the world TV. Carlos Tonight. Historias de un reportero. Carlos Tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
Hey, bienvenidos and welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for listening and, of course, for watching. I do appreciate your support. Before we get things started, I want to invite you to check out my website. That's carlostonight.com. There you can find more information on the podcast, see upcoming guests, and, of course, check out past episodes. This week, I want to introduce you to a successful entrepreneur. He is, come on, have a seat. He is Pier Ramirez. He does a lot of fitness stuff and real estate, and he's going to be doing nonprofit work, or he's doing nonprofit work right now. And we'll get to all of that in just a few minutes. But first, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here. You know, it's a pleasure to share these experiences and knowledge to everybody who's watching. Maybe this can be serve as a purpose and or inspiration for anybody who wants to take action too.
And tell us, you're from Peru.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been living in the Dallas, Fort Worth area?
Wow. Well, I moved here when I was 16 in 2011. So I think it's been 11 years. And I just, like I was sharing earlier with you, I've been living in the same city of Plano for 11 years. And yeah, I mean, I love this place. I love Dallas. I love the people that live here. Pretty friendly, I guess. And I don't have maybe a strong reason why to move out of the state. Maybe Florida because of the weather.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit ago about how yesterday it was about like 80 degrees, and then today it was like 33.
This is Texas, man. One day you're super warm in your bed, you're ready to go, you're wearing shorts, and you step out of the side of your house, and then you get back right in and change completely, like wear a coat and scarf and everything because the weather just dropped like 20 degrees.
It's insane. So let's talk about personal training. That's something that you enjoy doing. And what was your first introduction to, lifting weights?
Wow. So we have to go back all the way back in Peru. So I guess that I have always, liked and to do any kind of like physical activity. I was always big into sports. And more precisely into soccer. But I used to be really skinny. I mean, if you guys follow me on Instagram or any social media, you guys are going to see that the body that I have wasn't the body that I used to have. And that kind of like, it was something that I guess that it was just... I won't say like it was something born from me at first, because my friend took me to the gym. He was like, hey, maybe you need to put some weight on. Let's go and try it out. And then the first time that I did, I just fell in love with it. And then after that, as I have shared this story before, and a lot of people probably know about this, but I used to go to a local gym near home, and I used to clean the gym just to get free access to it. That's how much, free membership. That's how much I loved it, because my dad was always into like, Pierre, you should study first, you should get done with school, and gym thing, he used to call it the gym thing, you can do it over the summer when you're like on vacations. But I was like, Dad, I'm going to study, so I require a little bit of money, for like transportation. Back home, it's not like here you can just grab your car and then get going. You have to take public transportation, so I was lying to my parents maybe for like a couple of years that I was going to study to a friend's house, and I was just going to work, technically.
Did they notice you were getting bigger?
And they were like, hey, what's going on with your body? Like, right? Is it like, I was like, Mom, you pour me like this big portion, so I think it's probably you. I'm just developing,
So you gain muscle and weight.
Yeah. And it kind of like, for anybody, there's a lot of people out there that do fitness for multiple reasons, right? It could be something for health. It could be something for just self-esteem. It could be for looks. There's so many goals out there. But I think like one of the instant gratifications that you're going to have is just feeling a little bit more confident with your skin. And not necessarily that you have to look a certain way to actually feel comfortable with your skin, But let's say if you're too skinny and you get picked on for being skinny, or if you're a little overweight and then you dislike that, and that little, when you start seeing changes, and then you start feeling more comfortable with your skin and showing a little bit more, I think that instant gratification is like the first thing that you get to experience, and it's great.
That must be like a good feeling.
Yes.
Once you start noticing that you're getting big.
Right, and then people are like, and then first your mom, they tell you, oh my God, hijo, ¿qué pasa? And then family members too, like were like complimenting here and there, and that was just like, okay, so this thing is working. And then when you have the girls too, taking a look at you, and then you're like, well, in case of a guy, right? I mean, well, back then cell phones weren't that popular, so maybe more like MySpace and High Five accounts for the people back in the day. But Facebook was recently a thing yet. But yeah, it was great. And then since then, I just started doing it. I felt like the regimen and organization that comes behind that, because there's a lot of discipline with it. It's not just going to the gym and lift some weights. Anybody can do that, but it's just staying consistent with it and then feeling good with it. You're gonna be golden.
You do a lot of personal training. You're a co-founder of a company.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llama?
Our Revolution Fitness.
And then tell me a little bit about the company and what you do.
So, I mean, we basically helped a lot of people who are trying to accomplish a fitness goal, right? Whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, look a certain way, feel just maybe better with yourself, or you just maybe get some more knowledge about like eating habits and like diet plans and everything else. Our business is not only solely focusing on like actually trying to develop this masterpiece. Because rather than being told what to do, we actually teach you. So in that way, by the time you're finished working out with us, I mean, not working out, but like you're finishing working with us, because we do offer a lot of online coaching. The one-on-one personal training, we used to do it, but then after COVID, we felt that there were a lot of people that really didn't know what to do without having the trainer, right? It's like they took away all the knowledge, all the accountability, and everything from them, and then people were just at home not knowing what to do. And I've seen that happening multiple times. So we decided to kind of like change that direction of our business and do this online thing. But of course, we have implemented a lot of like teaching methods, so people know exactly what they're eating, how they're supposed to be eating, why they're eating these items. Because most of the time people, and this is the approach of like coaches, they would just hand you the stuff, right? And it's like, hey, Carlos, here's your meal plan. Here's your workout plan. Go ahead and do it, right? I mean, well, however you want to do it, but get it done. And sometimes you just find yourself doing this, but then you don't really know why is that you eating X amount of this, and why is that you eating X in the morning, and why maybe no oatmeal at nighttime, and only, even though it's a breakfast item, but why not? I mean, there is a bunch of different science behind that, actually, that, believe it or not, it makes a lot of difference. And once you know that, you learn a lot about your body, and once you know how your body works from inside out, it's really easy to get where you want to be.
So if people check out your Instagram, they'll see that you are a buff.
We're covering up, we're layering up today because it's cold outside.
But you weren't always buff. You weren't born that way.
I had to hydrate for that start.
So you have to drink a lot of water when you're watching what you eat and dieting.
That's part of the diet, water is good.
Do you actually drink a gallon of water a day?
I try to do it. I mean, for the most part, sometimes it's quite difficult for people that are actually busy to drink quite a bit of water. Sometimes you just get busy with stuff, and then, you remember to eat, but you don't remember to drink water, right? And believe it or not, water is probably the key for weight loss. A lot of dehydration is a big thing when it comes down to weight gain, because your stomach gets confused whether you're hungry or you're thirsty. And it creates a lot of problems, especially when people like to eat.
And I like seeing pictures before and after. And then when you really look at it, you kind of just wonder, not only what work went into it, but the struggle, waking up at 3:45 or 4:45 to be at the gym at 5. If your car's not working, how did you get to the gym? All that stuff. And it's like a lot of people don't know the story behind the photos.
Right. And you're absolutely right. I think that when people see a lot of these before and afters, they see like wow. I mean, in the immediate thing to maybe to think is like, because I'm guilty of that, it's like, I want to be like that, right? But sometimes we don't see, like you just said, all the struggle, all the effort, and everything else that happened before to accomplish that body image. So I think like once you know and you're capable and you understand what it takes to get to that point, I mean, the road is pretty easy. But if you just want to get there, don't know how, but you just want to get there and you're really not committed to what it takes, then you're more likely to give up.
And tell me, what led you to open up your own personal training?
That's a tough question. Because, I mean, like I shared this with a lot of people that ask me, I mean, what kind of lead me to open my own fitness brand? If there's a lot of fitness brands out there, it's just the principle that so how can I put this into easy words? It's just basically like the principle that or our philosophy that we believe, right? Unfortunately, there is a lot of, the fitness industry is nasty. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I mean, growing up, I learned everything about fitness. My life was all about fitness since the age of 14. I'm 27 now, so I've been doing this for a long time. And I remember, we're not going to say what the name of the gym, but after I got my certification, it's like the first thing you want to do is just go get a job as a trainer, get some experience, get a little bit of like, how does it work here? And to start off, like the numbers were not, they didn't look good to me from like the clientele perspective, from the client perspective. The amount of value that they were providing for clients wasn't the right one, and the commitment that the coaches had with their clients wasn't really. It was just like, I think like when you have something that you do with passion, anything in life, you really want to do the extra step. You don't do it for the money. If you're really in love with what you do, it's a different kind of fulfillment. And that's when I knew like I had to do something different, because you cannot change somebody's life. I mean, going to coach them for 30 minutes twice a week, and charging them like $1,000 a month. I mean, for people that can afford it, hey, congratulations.
Usually all that money goes to the gym and not
and that's the
trainer,
thing.
right?
If you want to be a personal trainer, that's probably the worst. I'm not saying it's the worst mistake. You can get a lot of experience working at the gym. I think like if you want to try it out and get like your feet wet in the industry, maybe the best way. But if you're trying to make a living out of that, like I said, we're not going to discuss too much numbers, but figure it out yourself. I mean, what works for you. But to me, it was just like, why is that you guys are taking all of this money if we're doing all the work? So, I mean, the industry is nasty, like I said. So I step out from that meeting, and I was like, you know what? Today I'm creating my own fitness brand, where we can actually teach people. We can actually like help people to achieve better goals, and not only like get them from point A to point B, but actually like change their life forever. I want them to go home after they're done with us. I mean, they're going to be working out from home. I mean, it's an online coaching what we offer, but after they're done with us, I want them to know what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and not being sold on things that maybe are just, you're watching TV nowadays a lot of stuff, and you just buy random stuff thinking that it's going to make you lose weight. It's like, drink this tea, lose 20 pounds within a month. I mean, tell me about that tea, because I wish I could use it too. Exactly. Especially after Christmas and all these festivities.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Before we talk about real estate, what's the one exercise that you hate doing?
Wow. Actually, I've never been asked that on the podcast or like open on the air. But it's something that Yeah, I think I hate it. It's not burpees. A lot of people hate burpees.
I hate burpees.
Yeah, you hate burpees? I know people are like burpees. I do hate the lateral pull downs exercise that you actually sit down and it's for your back and you grab this pole and then you.
Oh, you hate that one?
Don't even get me started. I think for a guy, and if you're watching this, for a guy, I think that working out my back is probably the least pleasant day that I have at the gym. I dislike pulling. If you know what I mean. I mean, if you're working at your back, you sit a row, you do a lot of pulling. I like more the pushing way of like, so it's chest, a lot of triceps. But back is just one of those things. I even do enjoy doing legs. A lot of guys will hate doing legs. I love doing legs. I love the fact that next day I cannot even walk properly. I love it. But back day, I go in there and I'm like, oh, another day.
In the world TV, Carlos tonight, historias de un reportero. Carlos tonight, dale que viene lo bueno.
How did you get started with real estate?
I think it was because of my. So it was a kind of like really interesting way because I wasn't really. I never really had in mind, like, Pierre, I think it's time to diversify. Let's do something else in fitness, right? And I never really put time and effort researching what other things I could do. It was just kind of like meant to be. Like, first of all, I got surrounded by, like, some of my clients were into, like, the real estate business, and it was just small talks. You know, if you're a banker, you probably have something to share about, like, that life. I mean, if you're a dentist, you know, and then just from talk to talk, and then I started learning things little by little. And then next thing you know, when COVID hit, my business partner actually was the one who started it first with this Airbnb business that we do. So we do real estate, we buy properties or we get them for rent, and we work with like landlords where we Airbnb their places or our own real estate that we buy as well. So he started it during the pandemic, and he played it so nicely because a lot of people were like feeling a little bit more comfortable staying in a private place with maybe more space, their own bathroom, the kitchen. You have just more things going on Airbnb than a hotel. And people had to still travel for work or vacations or visiting stuff. So that's when the Airbnb business started getting really, really good. And I was just, a little skeptical during the beginning. I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. So he started doing it, and then he was actually pretty successful at that. And that kind of like lead me into like, you know what? I mean, why don't you come and share your ideas with me and tell me how this is working out for you? And he did. And then since then, I mean, Sean, he's my business partner. I know him for like, since we started this business in 2016. He's my actually partner of my fitness brand as well. So we started doing this together, and I trust him to death, and he said like, hey man, I think this is something that you have to do too. And then we started doing it together as well to like look into it, learning. We, of course, there's a lot of trial and error in anything that you do with yourself. And then I was so thankful to have people also around me. And I start surrounding myself with like people into real estate, I mean, and it's funny how it works because when you're kind of interested in certain topic, then all of a sudden you start having these people coming into your life with somehow they're related to what you want to do. And I have one client that I used to train on 101, and she is big into real estate. And she was the one primarily who actually had a lot of like teaching aspect. She did a lot of the teaching aspect. I was asking questions and she was telling me, and then I got started like that. You never know. I mean, I never really look into it, but it was something like that. And then now I'm doing it full time. My business is called Red Carpet Properties, and we're doing very good here in Dallas. So sooner than later, we're trying to go over different states, and then trying to provide the same kind of quality service for the other anybody.
I saw somewhere that you wanted to do Florida.
Yes, I want to go to Florida. I want to make sure that I get to hit maybe like New Orleans. But you have to be very careful with these kind of like places because you never know what the laws are in terms of like real estate. So, for example, like Fort Worth, Airbnb is illegal there. Arlington, you cannot have an Airbnb like around like I don't know what is the perimeter around the stadium. So you have to make a lot of like research.
So you don't get in trouble.
I mean, I love to travel.
So you don't get in trouble.
Oh yeah.
I love to travel too.
I love to so you don't want to get in trouble. The worst mistake you can make is get an Airbnb place, invest this much money, getting it ready, and next thing you know, you get a letter by the city. It's like, hey, you can't do this here. I need you to like cancel it out, live there, rent it out to somebody, but you cannot do like short-term leasing. That's, I guess, like the right way to call it. There is no short-term leasing, but you can rent it out to like somebody who comes. You can Airbnb it for maybe 30, more than 60 days, more than 3 months to somebody who just wants to like basically stay there for 6 months. You can do that, but you cannot Airbnb it for like 2 days, 3 days, 1 week. That's illegal.
And I feel like what you do, it keeps you busy like 24/7.
Oh man, like I mean, you know, for anybody who is Hispanic watching this this podcast, I mean, we do, I guess, like I don't know, the upbringing from our families. Like we do a lot of things, you know, like that, especially that. You know, I remember my dad teaching me since I was really young how to like do just like how to change a light bulb or what to look for, like when an outlet wasn't working properly, like what cables to look at and stuff like that. So nowadays, now that I'm doing a lot of real estate, you have no idea how much money I'm saving, and thank that for everything, all the knowledge you have provided, because there is small things that I can do it myself that I don't have to pay somebody else to do.
You do a lot of stories on Instagram, fixing things around the house.
Yes.
Saving money. A lot of people like.
Oh my God, you have no idea. I have friends contacting me. I have friends contacting me right and left, and they're like, Pierre, like, why don't you come help me fix my vent, or Pierre, why don't you come and check out this thing, you know? And I wish that I knew it all. Like, I mean, if I have the possibility to like do something like that, then of course I'll be down to do it. But sometimes it just gets like to a point like it requires maybe a professional to do it. As a matter of fact, my electrician reached out to me and he was like, Pierre, I mean, you're doing an amazing job sharing this knowledge, but man, I mean, that's $150. Yeah, $150 for me, man. Come on. So yeah, I mean, I love to, you know, incentivize, maybe like promote like this kind of like things in the internet. It's not really that hard. And I'm not telling you that you need to be like very good with your hands. Changing a filter, changing maybe like the extractor from your bathroom. Maybe it seems a little complicated, but like when you actually get down to do it and you have the patience for it, it's pretty easy. And yeah, like I like to record it, show it kind of step by step, what things do you need, and then when people see it, it's like, wow. And I just paid somebody like $100 to come and do it. And
I feel like a lot of people go to YouTube anyway to look for, you know, how to do stuff. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of doing like helping them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably like go into YouTube, like you said, and I do a lot of that stuff too. Like I feel like there's a lot of my inspiration comes from like YouTube and stuff like that. I just YouTube like how to do this, and I'm like see it a couple times, and then I was like, okay, well, if I do it wrong, then I call somebody. But if I try to do it and I nailed it, then I get to do it multiple times. Like, if I can save you $1, doesn't mean you guys are going to call me from now on. But if I can save you some money and I can do something for you, like, absolutely, I'll do that for anybody.
In the Warriors on the beat, Carlos tonight. Historias de un reportero. Carlos tonight. Dale que viene lo bueno.
speaking of helping people, a good segue, and you're mentioning it earlier about their nonprofit. What was the idea behind it?
The nonprofit that we have in Peru, it kind of like, the way that I look at it is like, and I seen it happen here in a lot of like, maybe in a lot of places. I'm not saying that Peru is a developed like country, it's still developing, but every time I go there and then I see people just minding their own business when they're walking on the street, you know. I mean, sometimes you walk down the street and you're so busy and so focused with your life or your cell phone or your friend, and and sometimes we don't pay attention to what's going on around us. And every time I go to Peru, I have money specifically that I have saved up. Before we started doing this nonprofit, like, I guess, before we register it and like to the state, and then you get all the paperwork done to actually be a legit nonprofit, right? We started doing this with like out of pocket money, our own money. And every time I will go to Peru, I will save up money, and then out of my own pocket, I will try to like buy toys, food, stuff like that. And then for the homeless people or people that I will see on the streets with kids and stuff like that, I'll like help them out maybe with a meal or with toys and stuff like that. And it's surprising like how many people will walk past by the same people, and they were just like they don't exist, and they're not really in tune with their surroundings. And that just like I don't know, maybe I'm just too over like sensitive when it comes down to these things, but I feel like everybody deserves at least an opportunity to enjoy a nice meal, you know, or for their kids to have toys, or to have to have access to education and books to read and be actually educated. So that's kind of like where my friends and I actually talked about this, and we were like, hey, what about we actually come up with something and we make this a legit business where we can actually get, you know, help from people that want to help our cause, and actually do this on a bigger scale, so we can actually help families and things like that. Like this last Christmas, we helped, if I'm not mistaken, like about 150 kids. So we rented out this place, and then we were serving like hot chocolate, you know, turkey, and all these kind of things. It was surprising how many families never had the chance to experience what a Christmas dinner is, you know, while drinking hot chocolate and stuff like that, because they cannot afford it. And just seeing that smiles on their faces, and like, you know, it just hits you differently. It's a different kind of fulfillment, and it was amazing. I mean, seeing these kids just enjoy and laugh and being satisfied and happy with their food and their little toys. And it wasn't even like the biggest and greatest thing, you know. Sometimes growing up, you grow with all these kind of things, and we're just take everything for granted. And there's people out there that don't even have like a soccer ball, you know. And once they get something like that, they're just speechless. Like,
it's sometimes like the little things that mean a lot.
And it puts into perspective, and I think that has to do a lot with like the way that I do business too. Like, it's just those little things that will like help you have better work ethics, how to set up very good relationship with people. Because if you're really down to earth and you know what's going on, you're probably going to be making the right decisions most of the time.
How proud do you think your family is of you?
Oh my God, I think they're really proud, especially my dad. I always have issues with him. Because it's kind of strange. It's really strange seeing people to just go on the streets and literally like give this kind of stuff to like most of like the homeless, or it's not even homeless, but there's just families with low resources that are selling candy with their kids and stuff like that. So, and this is nothing to bargain. To brag about, and this is nothing to like show off or anything like that. because if you're doing it this from heart, then this is what counts. But my dad is like, Pierre, like at this rate, you're gonna go poor. Like how much money? Because I remember this past experience that I had because I went to Peru like for Christmas. I remember buying like I don't know how many meals, and which was surprising. And actually, I shared this with my family and friends. I think my nephew was with me. I took this lady who had their baby with her into a restaurant. And the first thing that people do were trying to like, oh no, I'm sorry. Like they were trying to kick her out somehow because they thought that she was coming in to sell her products. So they don't want to have that kind of like crowd inside of the restaurant. And I was like, hey, she's coming with me. Like, and everybody was kind of surprised about that. And I told her, as a matter of fact, her entire family is on the way. Because I was like, hey, do you happen to have a family? Like, yeah, they're in the other corner. I was like, call them because I'm going to get you a meal, right? And there's this thing is called like, I mean, the roastery chicken. I'm pretty sure everybody have tried that before. In Peru, it's called pollo a la brasa. And it's like a very common thing that people like to eat. It's like French fries, roastery chicken, your salad. And then you have your Inca Cola, which is our like...
I love Inca.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our like soda, right? That goes with everything. And she told me that it has been at least 10 years. She told me like it's been 10 years that I haven't tried a meal like this. When I heard that, honestly, it hit me so hard because for most, I won't say not all of them, but for most Peruvians, getting a roastery chicken is very easy. Like it doesn't cost, it's not too cheap, neither too expensive, but I think everybody has access to that. And just hearing that is like 10 years you haven't had that. I was like, you and your family can take a seat here and I go and I order whatever you guys want. You guys deserve this. And then my nephew was just speechless too because it's a different kind of like love and return that you give to society. And I think like if you act like this with love and everything, good things will happen to you. Not all the time, because I don't know why bad things happen to good people sometimes, but most of the time life will get you back, will pay you back for the good things you do in life.
Fantastic. Seems like you have a big heart. And so
I tried.
Everything you do is going to go back to you, like you said. So congratulations on that.
Yeah. So, I would like to share that sooner than later, we're coming out with a website and all the details about like how anybody can donate from anywhere that you are. We're trying to get the legal documents, ready to go, so people from here and from anywhere can start donating. You don't have to, if you want to travel to Peru and be part of this experience with us, you're more than welcome. We need as many hands as we can. But if you just are super busy with your life and and you just would like to still contribute and see like that your money is going towards something, like I think it's a very noble cause, then you can do it.
You mentioned that like even a small amount is like a huge.
It's huge. Yeah, I mean the conversion rate is like if you donate even $100, it is 4 times right now there, and we can do a lot of it, a lot of things with like $400, and that's a lot of food, that's a lot of clothing, that's a lot of like toys for the kids. So I mean, think about it. That's just $100. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody has spent $100 going out to drink or dinner.
Starbucks, McDonald's.
I'm pretty sure we can do something about that.
On your Instagram, you have a quote that you put on recently, and it says, "Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value." What does that mean?
That's something that I really, really, really thought about. And that's exactly kind of like contrasting what I'm doing right now. It's like a lot of people sometimes, and then this is for anybody, entrepreneurs and everything. I mean, I guess when you're trying to achieve something in life, a lot of people pursue money. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, all your efforts have to be compensated. But I think that most importantly it has to come like the value that comes with it. Like what kind of work are you doing, and what kind of value you're providing with that, with your business, right? Because, and before I get deep down to that, I feel like, because a lot of people ask me when they want to start a business, they tell me like, Pierre, so what is the first steps? What can we do right now so I can start my own business? I want to do something like you're doing. Apparently you're doing very well. I want to do something like just like you. And the first thing that I tell them like is, why is that you want to do something like is working out for me? And that's something that I go with a lot. Is like, do not replicate, innovate. If you're going to be replicating what I'm doing, like let's say, right? I mean, you're doing a podcast. Maybe you know more about these kind of like things than I do. Maybe these things is working amazing for you because of your personality. Like, you seem a pretty cool guy to talk to, you know? Right? You are. That's the reason why I'm here. So, but maybe in my case, if I'm trying to do my own podcast, maybe I don't have the same hit. Maybe I'm just a different personality. I don't know too much about this, and I was doing it because of the money or whatever comes with it. Then I'm going to fail. And when you fail by doing something, you're going to feel like that you're like completely failure and you're not worth of keep doing and pursuing your dreams. And that takes a toll. And it's very hard to get up and then do this again, right? So what I tell people is like trying to find a niche where you enjoy yourself doing it, where you have passion, that when the business is not doing well or whatever your ideals are not going the way they're supposed to, then you're okay with it because you're doing this for a different purpose, a different value. So especially man or woman, I mean, either or. I mean, if you're chasing to be this super, very powerful individual that has access to everything because of the money and everything, but like, yeah, I mean, what things have you done with your life or in your business that you have contributed back to society? What kind of value have you provided? And I think that's really something that I'm trying to achieve on the day-to-day. It's like, if I can help people one way or the other, and somehow I can, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, if you pay attention to my business, it's everything customer related, like dealing with like people, you know, it's a lot of like customer service that we do, changing people's life through fitness and making people really happy when they come to stay in our properties that we have. It's like cater to all their needs. I mean, one way or the other, we're giving back, and now with this nonprofit, it's huge. So I'm really happy that you paid attention to that quote because, I mean, I feel like not a lot of people really pay attention to things like that. They're more like enthusiastic about seeing the latest dance on TikTok.
You're a good lip singer, by the way. I see on TikTok.
I see. I try to keep up with like certain things, so we have to like mix it up a little bit, you know?
So you're very inspirational, and I want to wish you the best in everything that you do. And hopefully someone out there is inspired and wants to be, you know, following your footsteps. And so where can people find you?
Thank you so much for having me here. And if you're watching or listening to this podcast, I do really hope that you took some value out of this. I'm just super thankful that I have the opportunity to talk about my experiences and the thing and how I see life. That maybe, you know, people are out there not ready to take action, but then somehow something clicks. And if you're that person and it's happening to you right now, then don't think twice, you know, go ahead and do it.
By the way, you're the first Pierre that I've ever met.
Really? Well, my name is Pier Luigi. And I don't know what my parents were trying to do there.
I saw that in your email.
I still questioning my parents why they still come out with like very specific name. It caused me a lot of issues in high school. I end up with like having like a bunch of different nicknames because of that.
My mom wanted to call me what is she? It's Herman in English, but in Spanish is Herman.
Herman?
Yeah. So I'm glad she didn't. I didn't want to be called Herman.
You know, I'm happy with it. It's very unique, I guess. The more I start growing old into like an adult, I was like, actually, my name is not that bad. But I still go by Pierre because I tell people Pierre Luigi and they're like, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time. Thanks for being here. God bless you. And have a good one.
All right.
You're always invited.
Thank you guys for watching this episode, and make sure to subscribe and stay tuned with everything else coming up.
Historias de un reportero.
This episode was written and produced by yours truly, Carlos Correa. My theme was produced by Skin Gales. Thanks for listening and for watching. And don't forget to leave a review when you can. Oh, and you can find more information on the show at carlostonight.com.
Dale que viene lo